Welcome in. We are live from the Taco Terrace. It's a social taco three-man front Tuesday. Landrum and Pat, Conrad Van Order along as well. Hope everyone is doing well. They're going to be building tacos while you're building memories with friends here at Social Taco.
Man.
We'll tell you all about the great things that Social Taco has to offer as we progress through the program. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Wonderful day here at Social Taco. Come on out and see us. Doors will open up at 11 o'clock. We'll be here until 2. Very busy show. We will talk to Mike Griffith from the AJCDogNation.com coming up in just a couple minutes. Charlie Potter from Bama Online. He'll join the show at 10:30. Mike Gittins from the War Report. We will talk to him about the Auburn Tigers. Matt LePay, who is the voice of the Wisconsin Badgers. He will be on the program at 12:30. And as customary on Mondays, kind of the bookends. It's kind of like Curry and Copeland back in 1992 on the show on Tuesdays. We've got Mike Griffith. He's the Curry. And we've got Dimitri Ravanos. He's the Copeland on the back end of the show.
Who was better?
Copeland or Curry?
Yeah.
Man.
It was really tough, wasn't it?
It was very, very tough. Very tough. Those two guys were
a nightmare for offensive tackles and a tight end or two.
Yeah, they were something else. Did you stay up late and watch the Monday Night Football game?
I did. I enjoyed it. That's
poor Bears fans.
That's 2 nights in a row. I know. But you were ready. You were expecting it to happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that the Vikings only had 71 yards of offense before the fourth quarter, and then they go on those 3 touchdown drives, 183 yards for the quarter. Man, it was something else.
For a while, I thought Will Reichert is the only weapon that the Vikings are able to utilize.
How about that? He hits that 59-yarder, which was a Soldier Field record. And Kevin Butler kicked there back in the day. Former Georgia great.
It's the strength and conditioning program that he had at Hoover High School and then Alabama.
Will Reichert, nice job as the Vikings win 27-24 last night.
But it came off his foot, though. I told him, I said, look, this is Will Reichert, played at Alabama, played at Hoover. He said, look at the field goal. And then she finally made the connection. When it came off his foot, I was like, that's good. My wife will tell you.
You called it immediately?
Well, you could see the drive. You could see the drive of the ball. Didn't start too high. I mean, he put every bit of it into it. And it cleared it by, what, a couple of yards?
Yeah. So the Vikings get a big win on the road in the NFC North to start the season. There's a lot of interdivision rivalry games that were played in the opening weekend of the NFL. I don't remember them doing that
a lot either.
In the past. Having the Eagles play the Cowboys, that was big. Having the Giants and the almost said Redskins, playing on Sunday. And then you had the big NFC North battle. You had the Falcons and the Bucks, NFC South. So good stuff.
We need to get that in the SEC.
Oh, like the opening weekend SEC games?
I wouldn't have a problem with it. And then you have a little bit of a buffer, play some of those non-conference games, get a lettuce game or two in there, and then get back into conference play.
So, about a month ago, we almost had our UFL franchise ripped out from underneath us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the good news is that ESPN announced this morning that the Birmingham Bowl is here for the next 4 years. A brand new title sponsor. The title sponsor is JLab. It is a personal technology and audio brand that delivers high-quality wireless earbuds, headphones, and other accessories. They signed a 4-year deal. They will be the title sponsor, will now be known as the JLab Birmingham Bowl.
I've had a set of the JLab AirPods.
In-ears?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got them in a pinch. They were great. I lost them, but they're great if you can keep up with them.
So that's great. I mean, the bowl game is locked in. It's an ESPN Events bowl game.
Yeah.
So they've got now a brand new corporate sponsor. I was a little disappointed that Buc-ee's wasn't the title sponsor. That would have been pretty cool, right?
That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome.
The Buc-ee's in Leeds?
Yeah.
Kind of the main sponsor.
We have now been to our tour of Buc-ee's. We've been to 2. We went to the one in Leeds, and what's the other one we stopped?
Athens, Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one in Athens, that's every Buc-ee's I've ever been to, it's going to take you a minute to get a parking space, which is good for them. It's good business. But the one in Athens, that was like on steroids.
Big spacious bathrooms. They're always clean.
Yes.
when I go in there.
You were in hog
They're
heaven.
not clean when I leave. I'm just kidding.
You were in hog heaven.
No, Buc-ee's is good, but J-Lab, that's great. So that means we get that game. Maybe we get Mississippi State, because we're starting to get these bowl projections way too early in the season. I'm going to call it Mississippi State and
Houston?
oh, no, that was the bowl. That would be cool. A Houston team to come back to play in that game, not coached by Dana Holgerson. Does it have to be a team out of the Big 12?
No, I think at that point in time
I was hoping.
scrubbing.
Now I'm hopefully we get the downfall, the slide of Brett Bielema in Illinois. What if we got Mississippi State and Illinois? That'd be fun.
Ugh, that'd be awful. All right, let's go to the Higginbotham hotline. Start us out every Tuesday. Mike, I said that you're kind of like Curry and Copeland. You kind of book in. You kind of get the show started for us every Tuesday, and we appreciate that from the AJCDogNation.com. You got a big one this week. Heading back home to Knoxville as you'll be covering the Georgia-Tennessee game. You excited? You fired up?
They're all big ones, right? Like Gene Stallings used to say, you don't think it's a big game, just lose one. You'll find out how big it is.
Are you going to Calhoun's on the river? Is that where you're going to eat while you're up there?
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't do a whole lot of barbecue. I know that might be surprising to some, but I'm one of those people that tries to eat healthy. I look for the best Mediterranean place in town.
Well, and the reason I asked you about Calhoun's, because that's a very famous location, because every time Tennessee in the last 10 years has had a job opening, that's where John Gruden seems to go eat.
Wow.
Yeah, so just curious.
You know what? If I liked, it's a good thing I don't like barbecue, because I'd probably weigh about 30 pounds more after covering SEC football the last 35 years.
Mike, your impressions, even with the weather delay that was experienced in Athens, your big takeaway from the 28-6 victory over the Governors of Austin Peay.
Well, I mean, it sounds trite to say this, but, I really think Austin Peay has a rising star as a head coach. I mean, I'm not saying they're world beaters or they should have been able to play Georgia within 3 touchdowns, but I was impressed with that coach. I think that guy's a rising star. I think you're going to see him in a Power 4 league. What he's done there is really impressive. Obviously, they beat Middle Tennessee State on the road in the opener. That's Derek Mason, pretty good coach. So that's an FCS program on the move. His name's Jeff Ferris. But as far as Georgia, I mean, they had an embarrassing series at the end of the first half where they couldn't score from the 1-yard line. They had 5 plays from the 1-yard line and weren't able to get in, and time ran out on them at the end of the first half. So, I mean, they got plenty to work on. They have a big challenge. Obviously, they're playing in front of 100,000 people at Neyland Stadium. And, Kirby's never lost in that stadium as a Georgia head coach or as an Alabama defensive coordinator. Of course, he didn't beat Tennessee as a player, but he has had a mastery over the Vols in Neyland Stadium, and he's going to be counting on the genius of the simplicity. Run the ball, don't turn it over, stay at a long down and distance, and relying on his defense.
All right, so for those Georgia fans that might have been concerned because Gunnar Stockton, if I'm not mistaken, he was not responsible for any touchdowns on Saturday, but the running attack was extremely well. Just talk about that, and I guess you just kind of telegraphed it, how that's kind of the main game plan coming into the Tennessee game because the 3 tailbacks rushed for 180 yards on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see how much Tennessee pushes them. I mean, if Tennessee can score points and take Georgia out of their comfort zone where Gunnar Stockton has to play from behind and has to put the ball downfield, that's not where Georgia wants to be, obviously. I mean, that's not how this team is built. They really don't have many. I think they got one play that's gone for more than 25 yards all year. I think their longest play against Austin Peay was a 23-yard run. I think there was a pass that Zachariah Branch caught behind the line of scrimmage and took 47 against Marshall in the opener, but they really haven't shown a lot downfield. And, I don't know how much of that is, game planning versus, kind of keeping it in the book. But, Georgia, for the most part, has been an offense that takes what's there and looks for yards after the catch and high-efficiency passes. No one's really taken them out of that comfort zone yet.
How much has Joey Aguilar, Tennessee quarterback, surprised you, even though just 2 games, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, given the competition? But has he turned your head, or are you still taking the wait-and-see approach?
I mean, I don't know how good Syracuse or East Tennessee State is. I know that Josh Heupel's offense, the way they spread you out, You've got to have pretty good defensive backs to cover in that much space, and you got to be a good tackling team, right? Because they work a lot in open space. So, and the tempo is another thing that teams aren't accustomed to. Now, Kirby's teams have been pretty coached up and handled the hurry-up offense with a hurry-up defense, but this is it's a new team. There's a lot of turnovers, a lot of new guys. I think the secondary is really good. I think the front seven's good, but they haven't done it yet. And so they're going to be tested by this scheme. Aguilar is obviously a good distributor of the ball. I mean, he's off to a good start. And just like we'll see how Gunnar Stockton responds to his first road start, we'll see how Aguilar responds to seeing an SEC defense like Georgia's.
In regards to the Vegas line, I know you don't look at it, but I am curious if you've heard anything, because when this point spread first came out, Mike, it was about 6.5. It's down. Georgia was a favorite, and now it's down to about 3.5. Is there some underlying reason you think that the Vegas folks have dropped that line? Is it a question maybe about personnel for the Georgia Bulldogs? Like, why all of a sudden has that gone from nearly a touchdown down to 3.5?
Well, they adjusted based on where the money's going. It tells you that a lot of people are betting on Tennessee. And, but don't forget, I mean, gambling's legal in Tennessee, right? You
Sure.
can use those apps up there, and you can't
Right.
do that in Georgia. You would think that would affect the type of people betting, that there'd be more Tennessee fans doing it. And they feel good about their team. I mean, they just scored a school record 72 points. And, they look at Georgia and, kind of see what you see, a team that's kind of plodded along offensively, that hasn't really filled up the highlight reels. Kirby's, been pretty vanilla, pretty soft-spoken about his team, hasn't really said much. They've kind of tried to generate their own hype with his, fire, passion, and energy spiel. But this is the first time that Georgia's really stepping into the ring without the headgear on. I mean, this is the first opponent that can really hurt him. And the Georgia players know that, and Kirby knows that. And so it's a ferocious environment. Tennessee had a test at Mercedes-Benz Stadium against Syracuse. I mean, that was a Power 4 opponent. But for Georgia, we're going to find out how this team responds. And do they respond like the last 8 Georgia teams that have beaten Tennessee in the series?
Mike Griffith, DogNation.com, and the AJC covers the SEC, joining us on Three-Man Front on the Higginbotham Hotline. Just a 2-game sample size, but league-wide, what teams have exceeded your expectations so far?
Well, I don't know about exceeding expectations. I don't know that anybody's really, lit the world on fire the first 2 weeks. I mean, LSU obviously had an impressive win, although, Clemson was down to Troy 16-0 at home the next week. So maybe that, I don't know. I don't want to say that win doesn't look as impressive, but you wonder a little bit now. And they didn't look real good in their last game against Louisiana Tech. We'll find out. I mean, LSU and Florida, it's a pretty big game for both coaches and both programs. I mean, Billy Napier with that loss to South Florida is kind of back on the hot site, and everybody got amnesia. Everybody was loving Billy Napier, first loss, and everybody's getting the for sale signs ready for his yard, because the schedule is just brutal. I mean, they play at LSU, and then they play at Miami after that. I mean, it's one tough test after another for the Gators and Napier, and they really need another miracle. Really need DJ Lagway to step up in a big way. So LSU right now, I guess I would say, is probably the most proven team. Oklahoma had a really big win over Michigan. I know the Alabama fans saw Justice Haynes rip off a 75-yard run. Boy, it sure would be nice to have him if they would have ponied up and paid the guy to stay. But they got what they got, and it was good enough for 73 points. And Ty Simpson completing 17 straight passes and did what they were supposed to do, and probably got some confidence back doing that without Ryan Williams, get some momentum. And now you got a Big Ten team. Beat Wisconsin by 3 touchdowns, and hey, travel to Georgia and 50-50 game on the road with the Dogs. And, so it was one game for Alabama. It looks like they're on their way to getting back on track. They showed some resolve. They responded. I know it doesn't mean anything, but had they not responded, I think there'd be more questions. But it looks like an Alabama team that, has a rallying cry now, right? Backs against the wall. The world doesn't believe in this kind of thing. So Auburn continues, right? Beat Ball State like they're supposed to. I mean, I guess we'll find out. They'll play another relevant opponent at some point. But the win over Baylor looks better after Baylor beat SMU. So, I mean, the SEC's tough. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's got more balance than ever. The running game has got going, one on the road in the SEC. That's tough. And then Arkansas's got this dual threat quarter. I don't think we're talking nearly enough about this Arkansas quarterback and Bobby
Taylor
Petrino.
Green?
But hey,
you like him?
yeah, but the pedals to the mat. We talk about them all we want, but if they lose, by 30 points to Ole Miss again, we ain't going to be talking about them anymore. But that's a big game because Arkansas could be dangerous, and if they beat Ole Miss, then we're all going to come to the table and look a little closer. But Ole Miss right now, to me, looks like a playoff team if Austin Simmons can, keep the ball out of the opponent's hands. He's thrown a couple few picks this year.
That is Mike Griffith from the AJC joining us every Tuesday. Mike, before we let you go, I know that once again your property down in South Alabama is a wanted commodity. Are there any open dates coming up over the next few weeks?
Yeah, there are, and it looks like the weather's turned nice at Gulf Shores Getaway AL. I appreciate you guys advertising that, and I hope people take advantage of the offer every week. We offer 25% off to any WJOX listener that hits us up on Instagram at Gulf Shores Getaway AL is the Instagram handle. If you send a direct message and mention that you heard about it on JOX, I'll take 25% off the rate. Just hit me up and fill it up in the fall and enjoy those 32 miles of Alabama coastline. Beautiful time of year and really nice community.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, enjoy your time back up on Rocky Top as Tennessee will be hosting the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll find out a little bit more about both of those teams as Alabama is right around the corner for the Dogs. Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. That's Mike Griffith joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. And all of our guests join us on that Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Coming up, we will continue the college football discussion. Some takeaways from Mike Griffith, what he told us. Charlie Potter coming up talking Alabama as we preview the Badgers of Wisconsin. Loaded up college football packed show from Social Taco and Homewood on this Tuesday. It's three-man front, and we are Jocks.
It is 10:20 here on Jocks. We're live at Social Taco. A couple of our regulars have already made their way up here on the Taco Terrace. Larry and Homewood and Don already here in attendance. You can join us. Doors will officially open at 11, but, hey, if you're a VIP, come on up. Have at it.
That's right. Who's going to stop you, right?
No one.
We got two gatekeepers. We got the mayor here, Don. I think Don might have shaved. So his face looks different. Did he shave?
Well, I think when Damian and him went to the game Saturday, I think Damian shaved, and I think Don followed suit. So
They went and had like a guy spa day.
yeah, kind of like went to a barber.
Yeah.
Got the old straight,
They want to look good.
Yeah.
Got their hair did.
Straight
and all
razor.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, both of them got their hair did. And got
He's
their
ready
face.
to play.
Yeah.
He's got his jersey on and everything.
Yeah, he's got his. Who's the most famous number one in Auburn history?
Oh man. Let's see. I do remember that.
It's Peyton Thorne, obviously.
Peyton Thorne.
Come on, guys. It's right there.
Devin Aromashadu, I think, was number
Okay.
one.
All right.
Golly. Now that you've had the double numbers, they don't stand out as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll stick with that one. But there's been plenty of others, I'm sure, that I'm failing to mention, that people will say, no, it's him. Okay.
So I'm not putting any words in Mike Griffith's mouth. You can go back and you can listen to the interview. Do you get the sense that maybe there's a little bit of apprehension for those around that Georgia football program at how good this program is? I know you really can't have a barometer based on the first 2 weeks of the season, but you're going to Rocky Top, and your offense has not performed. And you can take a look at their schedule of who they've played. I'm talking about Georgia. They're behind Alabama and Auburn, offensively speaking, in the Southeastern Conference.
I don't think there's any doubt, Pat. One thing you can say about Alabama and Auburn, both teams, it appears, have at least been tested. I don't think that's the case with Georgia. You open up with a Marshall team, you play Austin Peay, and with all due respect, and I'm sure that their coach, if Mike Griffith thinks he's a rising star and he's going to do great things, I trust Mike in his opinion. But you still played Austin Peay, and that's a team that you should go out and physically dominate, and they can know what's coming, and you should still be able to score, especially when you're inside the 5-yard line.
And you get 5 shots on the 1-yard line and you don't score?
Yeah, I think there's serious apprehension. This is a game that's going to have to be, from what I've seen from Georgia, it's going to have to be won by the defense. Defense is going to have to make plays, make life frustrating for Aguilar. Playing there at home, though, and how Tennessee spreads you out, we can see it can flip really, really quickly. And if you don't have an offense to answer, especially on the road with that crowd against you, I think you're in trouble if you're Georgia. I would not be surprised at all. Just a Tuesday glance if Tennessee wins this football game.
Yeah, I mean, they ran the ball 32 times against Austin Peay for 180 yards, 4 touchdowns. Gunnar Stockton had no passing touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns. He did throw for 227. But Mike kind of telegraphed in which he was talking about that they're just going to run the ball. Just line up and see if they're going to be able to move the football that way, because Georgia has been very vanilla. Not that Mike Bobo is one of the most electrifying offensive play callers you're going to see in college football. But this will be a really interesting matchup to see, because if Georgia loses that game, then all of a sudden – and first off, I thought the Georgia-Auburn game was on the board anyway for Auburn to win that game. But all of a sudden, that Georgia schedule looks completely different if they lose to Tennessee, including the game at home against Alabama in a couple weeks. So
yeah, and just think about, you've got Texas. You still got Ole Miss, right?
Yeah, they're in Georgia. Yeah.
You got Auburn on the road. You got Alabama, as you mentioned. Oh, it completely changes how you think about this football team.
Considering the fact that Georgia has dominated Tennessee for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And if Tennessee were to get that, then all of a sudden people's identity of Tennessee changes, and all of a sudden Georgia now has warts, and you got to ask yourself if Georgia is potentially that team that is going to find its way to Atlanta.
I think the biggest concern is if your defense is not the top-tier defense that we've seen from Georgia in the past, and they may very well be, but if they're not, you better have some firepower on the offensive side. And that's the fear, especially against the teams that you're going to be going up against. Alabama, if they're on their A game playing offense in a couple of weeks, they're in Athens, I think that's a problem. If Auburn's got it working at home, that's a problem. All these other teams that are potentially losses on that schedule, I would say right now I would put their offenses well above Georgia's and where I see them right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got Georgia playing an FCS opponent, and they scored 28 points. Meanwhile, Tennessee at home played an FCS opponent, and they scored 77 points. A little bit of a difference there.
Well, in Tennessee, maybe they opened up with Syracuse, right? So at least they've been tested somewhat. I don't believe that Georgia has. Not that I don't think they're good. They're good. But how good are they? I think that's the question. I guess we're going to find out on Saturday.
Yeah, and the line continues to hold around 3.5 points. It came out, it was 6. Now it's 3.5. I will disagree with Mike. I understand the premise of a point spread, but you can't tell me that many people in the state of Tennessee are hammering the Vols that much to where the point spread dropped 2.5 points.
No.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
That's sharp money.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think that's been hit yet. But so we'll see. Should be a very, very good game coming up. The other games in the slate of the SEC, well, you've got Oklahoma. They're visiting Temple. You talked about this off the air yesterday. It's kind of a weird game going to Philadelphia for Oklahoma to play Temple. That's like years ago when Alabama went up there and played Temple at Veterans Stadium, like back in the 80s. It's just weird.
Are you flying over early to do like a historical visit? You're going to do some tours? You're going to turn it into an educational experience for your players if you're Venables? It's weird. But if you're going to travel to Philadelphia to take on Temple, you might as well play in the nice place.
Yeah. And that they are. They're playing there at Lincoln Financial Field.
And it is a nice place.
Yeah, and they'll be kicking off the same time Alabama is. Auburn game's 11:45. The big one there at Neyland Stadium we've been talking about, that's coming up at 2:30 on Saturday. Then you've got UTEP and Texas, be a yawner. Louisiana Lafayette at Mizzou, another laugher. Alcorn State at Mississippi State. You would think Mississippi State would take care of business there. Arkansas Ole Miss, very interesting game.
That is interesting.
You know, Taylon Green has looked really good the first 2 games. The offense for Arkansas, they've done really well. Ole Miss already got their feet wet in conference play, got a win. They're playing between, obviously Vaught Hemingway's wonderful goalposts. So, see what happens.
We make light sometimes of Bobby Petrino because of his past, and he still is the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach there in Fayetteville. I think maybe it's understated or forgotten about how instrumental he has been in certain quarterbacks from season to season and making them better and helping them and giving them the tools to be better. I don't question him in being able to do that. So what we've seen from Taylon Green so far has been what they hoped that they were going to get in all of his different skill sets. The dude can run. He's got a great arm. It's just at times, what Taylon Green were you going to get where he literally, I saw him with my very own eyes in a game go Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. So we asked the poll question today, which SEC matchup are you most looking forward to this week? Is it Georgia-Tennessee, Florida-LSU, Arkansas-Ole Miss, Vandy-South Carolina? And right now, overwhelming, Georgia-Tennessee sitting at 76% of our audience says that's the game that they're most looking forward to. Coming in second place is Vandy at South Carolina. That point spread has gone down a little bit. So people are like putting money down on Vandy for that South Carolina home game. Coming in at the 6% is Florida LSU, and then Arkansas Ole Miss comes in as the last choice of those 4 conference
How
games.
much would a Vanderbilt win in Williams-Brice? Would it tell you more about Vanderbilt, or do you think it would be more of a statement on South Carolina?
I think it would be more of a statement on South Carolina at home.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of if you
and
don't
it's
have
not
your,
like they're sleeping on Vanderbilt.
Well, that's my point. I think everyone that's facing Vanderbilt this year will have their antenna up big time. And if you're a team like Auburn and Alabama, they most certainly will have their antenna up, ready for that one.
Well, and I don't think Virginia Tech is great. I think Brent Pryce probably going to get fired. But for Vanderbilt to go on the road in Blacksburg and handle that game and win it going away, where Virginia Tech, their back was kind of against the wall, and after the game that they had against South Carolina. I thought that that was probably going to be a better game, but you got to credit Diego Pavia. You got to credit Clark Lee. They went up there, they walked into the Hornets' nest, and they came out smelling like a rose. I like Vanderbilt in this game.
Yeah, I do too. When we come back on Three Man Front, we'll talk to Charlie Potter from Bama Online, get his thoughts about Wisconsin and Alabama, plus Alabama moving forward, especially how good the offense looked on Saturday. All that straight ahead. We're live at Social Taco on Three Man Front. It is 10:34. We're live at Social Taco here on Jocks. We'll talk to Charlie Potter coming up from Bama Online as Alabama gets ready to host only the second time at Bryant-Denny Stadium a Big Ten team. How about that? Last time was back in 2010 when Penn State was there. Joe Paterno, remember, was finishing up his career, and Alabama took care of business 24-3 against the Nittany Lions. So Wisconsin coming down here on Saturday. We'll talk to Charlie about that momentarily.
Well, the Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system, as they've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and that's why they are our official cooling partner right here at Jocks. Go find a comfort specialist near you today at Trane.com.
Our next guest, Charlie Potter, senior team writer for Bama Online, talking Alabama, Wisconsin, joining us on Three Man Front, and all of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Charlie, how are you on this beautiful Tuesday?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me.
So after the big win, dominating performance, we saw a lot of effort, a lot of enthusiasm from Kalen DeBoer's team. Ty Simpson was perfect, everything like we expected. How much has the criticism in your eyes and people you talk to and people that reach out to you subsided after last weekend's win?
It's definitely a lot easier to kind of maneuver the message board this week for sure. It's a situation where I think everybody knows who Alabama was playing, so they expected a very lopsided win. I think the fact that it was dominant just in all phases kind of helps a little bit. And I think the thing is, like, hearing from Ty Simpson and Jeremy Bernard, Kalen DeBoer, everybody after the game kind of had the same message of, like, they have to do this again next week. Like, it's just one game. They have to go out and continue to keep their foot on the gas. And I think that's what you want to hear. I think that, the fact that they were able to shut out an opponent to score 73 points, I think they had 11 drives and 10 of them ended in touchdowns, to really just play well in all phases. That's what you wanted to see. But you mentioned the effort. The fact that you had that intensity and that aggressiveness on defense is encouraging. But, again, can they sustain it? I think that's the big question, and we'll see if they can do that this weekend against Wisconsin.
So coming out of Tallahassee, going into the game on Saturday night, understand it's completely two different opponents. But in regards to what you personally wanted to see, the improvement from week 1 to week 2, which one, in your opinion, was the most telling coming out of that La Monroe game?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy just to say effort, like the want to from everybody across the board, but that's really what you were looking for. Just can they bring that intensity and tenacity to the field, and they did. And again, I mean, like, you got to know the opponent. ULM's the team that they were 5 touchdown favorites over. So Alabama was expected to win this one handily, but to double that up, I think is impressive. But I think just the improvement on defense, I still think they have a little bit of a ways to go because they continue to miss tackles. The sacks just aren't there, and you got to take into account teams haven't dropped back as much against Alabama in these first 2 games, but they still, I think, against Florida State and ULM, got double-digit pressures in both games. The only sack you have is in game 1, and that's coming from the safety in Keon Sabb. So there's still room to improve, but I think for me, just defensively, the flying to the football, and then offensively, I think Ty Simpson just was better in his decision-making. I think those 2 things were really just kind of at the top of the list. You have just a laundry list of things you want to see after a performance like week 1, but just the overall flying to the football on defense and then the decision-making on offense, I thought those were really positive signs on Saturday.
Charlie, when you look at Florida State, what they run, some other teams on Alabama's schedule down the line, what they run offensively, that can give any team fits because it's eye discipline, it's split-second decision, and a lot of one-on-one matchups. This Wisconsin team, I think of them as a just prototypical Big Ten team. Big, powerful, going to run the ball at you, going to grind some clock. They can do some things. They got some spread concepts, but basically it's here it is and see if you can stop it. Is that conducive for success with this Alabama defense, in your opinion? Does that set up for a successful day in Tuscaloosa on Saturday?
It should. I don't know if Wisconsin will have its starting quarterback, so that's always kind of a knock to begin with. But you look at last year, I mean, Alabama won 42-10 in Madison. And so I think that they're familiar with this offense and what it can do. If you are just trying to run north and south, maybe that's not the best approach. Maybe Wisconsin throws in some new wrinkles based off what they saw in film from the Florida State game. But, yeah, this is an offense that Alabama's defense should match up well against. And, we'll see. They might get Tim Keenan back this weekend. I think that they would like to still get through that bye week to give him some time to get healthy, but he's clearly itching to get on the field. But if you get that big space eater back in the middle of that defense against a team that wants to run the ball in the traditional sense, then it could be a long day for the Badgers. Again, I don't know if Keenan will be out there this weekend or not. He was still in a boot on Saturday. But regardless, just the way this team's built and the way they kind of responded this past week, it should be a good matchup that favors the Alabama defense on Saturday.
All right, Charlie, let's stay there on the injury front. If you got any updates on the next 2 players I'm going to ask you about, one is Ryan Williams, concussion protocol. Do you anticipate that he's going to play against Wisconsin? And what about the chances of Jam Miller being out there against the Badgers?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me was on Saturday watching pregame warm-ups, both of those guys dressed out. And I don't think we anticipated either playing at all against ULM. But I think that's a great sign. Like for Jam Miller, he dislocated that collarbone back on, I think, August 16th. That was the date of Alabama's second scrimmage. So it's just under a month if he's back on the field on Saturday. Again, I think they would like to wait until the Georgia game, but Kalen DeBoer has been more and more positive about just the way that Jam is attacking the rehab and itching to get back on the field. So maybe this week is a telltale, or maybe last week was a telltale, him going through warm-ups in full uniform, and that he's ready to get back on the field. But I think with Ryan Williams, the fact that he was going through warm-ups pretty much full speed, he was out there in full pads for the end of pregame. I think we'll see him on Saturday. So those two guys, I think both are trending up just in terms of where they are from a recovery and ready to get back on the field standpoint. But I'd probably give the edge to Ryan Williams right now in terms of one I would expect to see on Saturday.
Charlie, as far as vocal leaders and guys who maybe emerged since having the crisis that was Tallahassee, who have those guys been for Kalen DeBoer? Because these days in college football, it's a lot tougher to do because of the lack of continuity via the transfer portal.
I think they have really good captains. I think Ty Simpson's been pretty vocal this week, and we saw what happened in the second quarter with Austin Mack getting a series. We've all heard that was the plan. That's something they've done at Fresno State. But I think that what it did for Jake Haener lit a fire under Jake, and maybe it did the same for Ty. And he's been a guy that's been very vocal. I think Jeremy Bernard, Parker Brailsford, of course Deontay Lawson on the defensive side of the ball. But you keep hearing guys talking about Tim Keenan. Just like I think it was LT Overton after the game mentioned how they were going through walkthroughs at the team hotel on Saturday before the game, and you can hear, the coaches and everything, but you just hear Tim Keenan screaming in the background. Like, he's not satisfied with the way his teammates are playing. It obviously hurts him that he's not able to get back on the field, but he's been very vocal. We all saw the viral moment with him and Kalen DeBoer before the game. He's a guy that believes in these guys and knows that they can play better. And obviously when he's back out there, he can help contribute to that. But I think it's really there haven't been any surprises from a leadership standpoint that have spoken up. It's been the guys that have been speaking up all along, but their voices have been maybe a little louder here of late.
In regards to the team's response to what happened down in Tallahassee, I think it's all of us believe that Florida State is going to be a really good competitive team in the ACC. Heck, might even play for the ACC championship when it's all said and done. But in regards to being around that football team after that loss and what you experienced Saturday night, do you sense that Alabama swagger is back? I know it was La Monroe, but again, kind of starting back to zero after that tough loss down in Florida.
I think so. Yeah, I think they were all kind of shocked, and a lot of it was self-inflicted in Tallahassee. We can talk about the effort, but the penalties, a lot of the things that plagued Alabama last year kind of reared its ugly head at Florida State. But I do think so. And again, you're right. We have to kind of take a step back and realize that it was a ULM team that Alabama was supposed to beat and beat handily. But the fact that they took care of business, it just looked like what we expected to see on the field in week one. I think it has to bode well. And again, this is a Wisconsin team that they should beat and beat by double-digit points. And if they can go out and take care of business and do the same thing this week, going into a bye before going on the road to Athens, then maybe they are right back on track. So I think that it's encouraging, and I think that the players were kind of shocked by some of the things that happened in week one, and they've seemed to rally the troops and right the ship, and we'll see if they can sustain that. That's going to be the key moving forward is can they bottle this up and continue to do it on a weekly basis? Because if they can, this can be a special group. But if not, then you could have, performances like Florida State. I'm with you. If you're an Alabama fan, you got to hope that Florida State keeps this up. They keep rolling because they've looked good the first 2 weeks, and if they can continue to do this, maybe that was just, hey, Florida State's really damn good.
Yeah. There's no doubt. That is Charlie Potter. You can follow his work right over there at Bama Online. Charlie, always appreciate your time. Should be a fun atmosphere as the Big Ten's Wisconsin Badgers come calling on Saturday. Thanks, Charlie. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Charlie.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. That's Charlie Potter from Bama Online. All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
All right, picture this. It's a beautiful fall day. You're watching football. You're in your favorite easy chair. The game's coming on. You've got the leaves changing outside. The kids are happy. Everyone's happy. And then just a few minutes later, there's a scream from the kitchen. Your wife has seen a bug. Kids are running inside. They're screaming. They're covered in ants. Well, that's no way to spend your college football Saturday. Our friends at Stark Exterminators, they're here to help. A family-owned company for over 61 years, and family-owned, that still resonates with someone like me. But Stark, it's a company, it's a name that you can trust. That's why me and my wife rely on Stark, not only inside our home, outside our home. And if you're a business owner, they'll come there and take care of you as well. Stark Exterminators. Call today for the free home or business pest inspection. 855-STARK now is the number. Go to starkexterminators.com. When you do so, one of their professional and courteous team members will come out to your house. They'll inspect it thoroughly, address any current issues like those ants that were affecting your kids and any bugs that were scaring your wife in the kitchen. Stark Exterminators. 855-STARK now. Go to starkexterminators.com. As always, tell them Landrum from Jock sent you.
When we come back on Three-Man Front, we're going to tell you how much money Ryan Williams is making this year, NIL, and where does that compare to Cam Coleman or Eric Singleton at Auburn? We'll tell you that.
Is he getting more?
I don't know. I'll tell you in a few minutes. That's next on Three-Man Front. It is 10:50. We're live at Social Taco. Appreciate Charlie Potter joining us. Man, we're just off and running on this Tuesday. We've already heard from Mike Griffith from AJC, DogNation.com. Charlie Potter from Bama Online. Coming up in just a couple minutes, Mike Gittins will give us the Auburn side of things as the Auburn Tigers get ready to host Major Applewhite and the South Alabama Jags coming up at 11:45. So On3, who they do a really good job of tracking NIL and how much people are getting paid now in college football. And I think it goes without saying, Landrum, that the number one wide receiver when it comes to NIL payments in college football, it's Jeremiah Smith.
No doubt.
The media, they have proclaimed him the greatest wide receiver in the history of college football ever.
He doesn't have to play another game. He's already the best.
No, he's going to be the number one pick.
Yep.
According to On3, he's making between $4 and $5 million this season at Ohio State.
That's not bad. That is not bad.
His teammate, Carnell Tate, he makes $1.5 million at Ohio State. So then the question is, how much does Alabama's Ryan Williams make?
I would say it's – you have the number, right?
I do have the number.
All right. I have not seen the number. I will say that Ryan Williams per year is making $1.3 million.
$1.3 million. Have you read the story, Conrad? Are you cheating?
I'm not going to cheat. I know the number.
You know the number? Okay. Ryan Williams, according to On3, is making $1.8 million at the University of Alabama, which would put him as the second highest paid wide receiver in college football. Carnell Tate would be third at $1.5 million. KC Concepcion, who's now at Texas A&M. Remember, Alabama was trying to recruit him to Tuscaloosa. He played at NC State last year. He is due to make $1 million. According to On3, Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman both make $1 million apiece down at Auburn.
Yeah.
Reggie Virgil from Texas Tech, $800,000. How about this? Dane Key from Nebraska, according to On3, is making $800,000. So he's up in the upper tier. Ryan Wingo from Texas is making $750,000.
That's a little bit surprising.
Kentucky transfer Berrien Brown and Oklahoma transfer Nick Anderson, both now at LSU. They're making $650,000 apiece. Any of those jump out and really shock you?
Wingo seems a little bit low, but I was thinking it. $650. That's what I was thinking for Berrien Brown.
Berrien Brown and Nick Anderson, $650K at LSU. Wingo, who you just mentioned, $750K at Texas. I thought Cam Coleman would be making a little bit more.
I don't know if that really surprises me, Pat. I thought it would be $1 million and maybe just a little bit more. So I guess I'm in agreement with you. But $1 million sounds about right, and for Singleton too.
Yeah, and by the way, On3 is saying that he is making north of $1 million. So, but that's kind of, I guess, probably I would be surprised if Cam Coleman was not making more than Eric Singleton.
Or if they were making the exact same amount. Right?
Yeah.
Because Eric Singleton, I don't know if the knee's still an issue, but man, if it is, then I can't wait to see that guy play when he's well.
Yeah, and these are all estimates according to On3 because, as I mentioned, Jeremiah Smith between $4 and $5 million. They say that Ryan Williams making north of $1.8 million this season, so that might be the base. Obviously, with other endorsements and things of that nature, I would think that Ryan Williams is easily making $2.5 million based on everything else that he's probably got going.
Well, those are guys that they change games.
No doubt.
Smith is, and you could say all of those guys that are making north of $1 million, that's a matchup problem for every team in college football.
very much so.
And if you can get that one-on-one, your quarterback can make a good throw 9 times out of 10. That's going to be an explosive play, if not a touchdown.
We will head down to the loveliest village, talk to Mike Gittens from the War Report. He will give us the very latest for the Auburn Tigers. That's next on Three Man Front.